Hi there, I'm Keith, and today's video is my heavy metal video. First of all, I've been watching a bit of, well, always on YouTube, but I watched a good documentary about classic heavy metal. There's a Dio documentary. It's called Dreamers Never Die. It was on briefly in the movies, but you can now watch it on YouTube if you're a Dio fan. So that was a good one. Some great music in that. So it's Dio documentary, Dreamers Never Die. Also, some of the stuff I'm going to show you today has been gifts that I received for my birthday last month. Some things that I picked up but I just haven't shown yet. And also, to start off with, I've got some recommendations from other people's channels. So one of the good things about watching other people's videos is picking up on what they're listening to and what they've found out about, and I found out some really good ones through that. First one I'd like to show you is this one here, and this is from the band Enforced, and the album's name is War Remains. So Enforced are a thrash metal band, so just a mix really, a metal band from the United States, and this is their third album called War Remains. So this has got 10 tracks of pulverizing metal. They were formed in 2016. So you've got Will Wagstaff on guitars, Alex Bishop on drums, Zach Monahan on guitar, No Colby on vocals, Ethan Genzowski on bass. So this is really only 33 minutes on the CD, but what you get is just a blast of sound, but it's not enough that I don't like the heavier metal where you can't separate the guitars from the vocals and you can't separate the vocals from the guitars. Just a big mess of sound. I'm not really into that, but there's some good guitar lines. There's some good guitar solos, and I do really like this album. What are the songs? Hang by My Hand and Avarice. The title song's really good too, War Remains. So they're quite short, but what they do, there's only 2 tracks that are longer than 4 minutes. So it just gets in there, bashes your skull in, and then gets out, which I like. They've got a great sound for this, and it does sound great, the CD. So that was the first one. I'm not sure who showed this first, but I've seen this a lot, decided to just get it. It was at a good price and easy to get, so I'm glad I got that one. The other one is a huge one. Excuse me. This one here is Thy Listless Heart, and the album is Pilgrims on the Path of No Return. I was so happy to get this. I've been listening to it, streaming it. So this is a grand doom metal project by the solo artist Simon Bibby. Simon recorded this album at his home in Derbyshire, England, and he had a bit of help with it. But this is sort of one man's sort of vision. This came out in 2022. I didn't think I'd be able to pick this up, but I managed to find someone in Australia that was selling it and managed to get it over here. A lot of things are quite difficult to get over here. So this has got a great vocal harmonies. It's got very haunting sort of lyrics, and the theme seems to be sorrow, pain, wanting, sort of like, it's beautiful in a sad way, and it sort of needs to really be heard as a whole album in one sort of sitting, at least that way you get the most out of it. I think that was probably how it was designed to be heard. This is just a really great achievement for one, bloke who's put this together. And it's really good throughout. It's consistently good throughout. There's no like bad parts or parts you could say that's not as good as the opening, or that's not as good as the last track. It's just solid. So, and one of the songs, "Search for Meaning," is the album's closer, and that's about 15 minutes long. So Ella Zolotos on backing vocals. And just to recap, this is, it may look like it's a harsh listen for someone who likes things a bit melodic, but it's not at all. There's no harsh vocals or blackened vocals or anything like that. It's just a really good harmonious sort of listen of a thing. So this has been recommended by quite a few people in the VC. So I listened to that and just gave it a go, and it's probably one of my played records lately. That's Thy Listless Heart, Pilgrims on the Path of No Return. And I'll just show you the vinyl for that. Just the standard black. There. Right, so it wouldn't be a heavy metal update from myself if I didn't show some Overkill. There's always something Overkill related that I've picked up or listening to. So the latest one that I've got is another reissue of Overkill's Horrorscope. So this was album number 5, came out in 1991. So it's one of the albums. It's probably one of their better ones. That's the inner there. Oh. There you go. So this is one that is on blue marble vinyl. Got some great songs on here. Frankenstein, I think that's a cover. Nice Day for a Funeral. Infectious. Yeah, Horoscope's great. It's all great. And I'll just show you the vinyl for that as well. So yeah, always trying to fill out my Horoscope collection. I'm trying to get some of the harder to find ones. There we go. So next one, I'm all in with this band. The Scorpions, they've reissued all the albums. So this is the 4th one of the reissues I got. This was one that you couldn't get here in New Zealand, but I ordered it from overseas. It's a live album by the German rock band, the Scorpions, and it's on a tour when they were riding a crest of popularity, and they were headlining everywhere and in massive stadiums and things like that. Yeah, there you go. So I've got 3 of these other reissues, and they all sound good. And this as a live album, sounds really good. This record was a byproduct of the film. There's a film of the tour, and it just showed the band on the road, a working band on the road, and a videotape was released at the time. Well, this is the 80s, a videotape. So at this time, the band were really drilled. They'd done heaps of concerts, and they trolled through all their live recordings just to find some of the best live versions of their popular songs. And that's what was put on the record, according to the guitarist Rudolf Schenker. So, of course, it's got Rock You Like a Hurricane, Dynamite, The Zoo. It's got a great groove on that one. Yeah, just a great live album, that one. And I'll just show you the vinyl for that. I'm not quite sure what you call that colour. There you go. So just to show you, I had to get this as well because I'm a crazy person. The record collecting bug is real, I tell you. So I got this on CD. This is the 50th anniversary of that same album. The reason I got this is because if you get this, there's a bonus DVD on it. I think that's on the DVD, what I was just talking about, when the VHS documentary came out. I think that's on here because there's a live show over an hour, and then there's a documentary on here, another 20-minute documentary. So there's quite a lot of extra stuff. So this is worth getting. So when I found out about this, I had to pick this up as well. Yeah, the collecting bug is real, that's for sure. I had to get that as well. There you go. Right, this next lot I'll show you is the first one is a gift that I got for my birthday, and one of the big local shops. I went through there and I just made a list for the family, and this was one that they got me off the list. This is Whiplash. This was on my list for what I wanted for my birthday, and the album is Ticket to Mayhem. This is the second album. This is an American thrash band, and on Roadrunner. And it came out in 1987. So I'm not sure if this is a Florida band, but it says it was mastered in Florida and mixed. But I really like this logo here. There you go, the Whiplash logo. So I suppose, yeah, it's mostly thrash, but look at these guys there. They're going like that. So you could call it claw metal because they're going, it's just like a fast-paced speed guitar attack. And some of the songs make you want to go. One here, Snake Pit, they're just playing as fast as they can and just going, Snake Pit. Respect Spiral of Violence and Respect the Dead, they're good ones as well. So it opens and closes with tracks called Perpetual Warfare, which is just sound effects of guns, explosions, and fighter planes. Then Walk the Plank, that's a good one, and Last Nail in the Coffin. Drowning in Torment, and then it just rips into The Burning of Atlanta, which is probably one of my favourites on there. It's a really good. So the guitars sound really good, and it's a really good thrash album. Tony Portero vocals, Tony Bono bass, and Joe Cangliossi drums. So there's only 3 of them. I don't know why I haven't heard about this before, but music on vinyl, for some reason, a lot of the ones that are shown on the VCR can't get, but anything by music on vinyl, it can pick up pretty easy. So this is music on vinyl number 170, Whiplash, Ticket to Mayhem. Go, Roadrunner label on a green. So I went into my local store, JB Hi-Fi. They're sort of like electrical place. But they sell a lot of movies, and they've got quite a big record CD section. And I went in there, and for some reason they changed the entire store. All the record selections were just about gone, and they were pushed back to the store and into a little area. Same with the movies. So from going for quite a big music area. Now there's quite a small music area, and there's just TVs everywhere. TVs. So I suppose they're making more money on TVs than they do on music. So I don't like change, and I went in there. I was a bit pissed off. And then they had quite a lot of stuff to get rid of because to make room for all the TVs and what have you. So another one that was on my list for my birthday, I picked up because it was reduced by at least a third, and this was this one here. This is Gravedigger Tunes of War. I first heard about Gravedigger when I was listening to music for Metal Marty Mac's movie competition, and I listened to a track from Gravedigger. Was it called Blade of the Immortal? And I thought, wow, that's really catchy. That sounds really good. And then started listening to more and more. So I've been going through. They've got a lot of material out there. They've got a lot of albums. And then I saw this reduced right down. I was going to buy it anyway, but it was reduced right down at the shop. So I picked this up, grabbed this straight away. So Gravedigger is a German heavy metal power band, first formed in the 1980s. Founding members of Chris Boldenthal and Peter Mason. They started this band as a speed metal outfit before merging into basically a melodic power metal band with some Bay Area thrash thrown in there in the 1990s. So this is an earlier album. And when I first saw that, I thought it might be a European band because it's very Scottish themed. And they seem to have this band of Scottish history because they're just diving in and out of it through their whole discography. They've got quite a long discography. And this one here is sort of a concept album, and it just deals with the history of Scotland. I like the tartan on the back there. There you go, those guys. This is another music on vinyl release. So that last one was a good one, and this one's a good one too. There's bagpipes in here, but then they merge it in really well with some really good guitar. Even do a instrumental bagpipe solo with guitars over the top of it, and it's better than what it sounds actually. So you've got on side one, you've got The Brave, which is what I was just saying about the bagpipes, and then the second song, Scotland United, that's quite a patriotic song, almost a get up, go to war song. And then all the songs there do with historical figures like William Wallace, Braveheart, the Bruce, Battle of Flodden, Ballad of Mary, Queen of Scots, The Truth. That's a really good song as well. What's the other one there? Yep, The Fall of the Brave. Yep. Killing Time's a good one. So just discovered this and just picked up this one album at the moment, which came out in 1996. So this album there's actually a trilogy of these albums. So this is the first part of a Middle Ages trilogy they did. So the second album is called Knights of the Cross, which came out in 1998. And that one's about the rise and fall of the Knights Templar. So this was the first one in that trilogy. Then it's the one about the Templars. And then the final part finishes with the 1999 album Excalibur. The vocals here sound a bit to me like Ralph Kasparek from Running Wild, and the guitars are different, of course, and what have you, but galloping guitars, melodic songs, catchy choruses. So if that's your thing, that's what Gravedigger are about, in the same sort of bracket as Running Wild and there's other German melodic bands. I really enjoyed this, and starting to listen to quite a bit more of Gravedigger, And I'll just show you the another coloured one. I don't think I've seen a vinyl this colour from music on vinyl before. I think it's a flaming orange or something. Okay, the next ones I'm going to show you are all from a record fair that I went to. There wasn't a lot of heavy metal things there to buy. There was one guy there in a metal battle jacket, so I went straight to him, and he had this for sale. This is Destruction's Diabolical. I know most people have probably got this. I haven't seen it here yet, so I had to pick it up. This is their 14th album, came out last year. And just got this because I wanted to know if they still sound like the old Destruction, if they can still do it like they used to, the Destruction riffs and the high-pitched screams and, you know, nasal sort of vocals from Smear. And they can. This is very much their 80s sound, especially in the title track, Diabolical. And it's just ridiculously fast tempos, and it's just got those vocals, those Destruction vocals. And so, yeah, back at Destruction, it's what I was used to, the old Destruction. There you go, there. So I was happy to pick up the CD. I hadn't seen it around town before. That was one of the first things I got from the record fair. Another one is this one here, which is Rose Tattoo, and the name of the album is Rock and Roll Outlaws. There's the band there. So this is their debut album from the Australian hard rock band led by Angry Anderson. There he is there, that bloke. They were formed in Sydney in 1976. Their first 4 albums were produced by Harry Vander and George Young. And if you know those names, you might know those names from AC/DC. And same sort of school. They probably played the same pub rock circuit, playing just street level, heavy rock and blues. This album sounds great. Even members of AC/DC were fans and recommended them to their music label, Albert Productions, to sign. But this is on actually another label. It's not on the AC/DC Albert. It's on this label here, Carrera Records. License from Albert Productions, I guess. And it's got those guys' names on it, Vander and Young. So that's Rose Tattoo, Rock and Roll Outlaws. I picked that up. Another one that I picked up at that record fair is Michael Schenker's group, Assault Attack. I've seen this being shown on other channels and just thought, I'll pick that up one day. When I see it, I hadn't seen it, but just that day I saw it. This is the 3rd album, came out in 1982, and this is the only album to feature former Rainbow vocalist Graham Bonnet. So Assault Attack, Rock You to the Ground, Dancer, Samurai. I could have used that song Samurai for that music video competition that came out, because I've got lots of samurai movies, but I didn't even think of it because so this is produced by Martin Birch. If you know Graham Bonnet's voice, I picked up that it's him straight away. That's not a bad album. Last one, probably not my best pickup. And this is Disneyland After Dark, and the album is Call of the Wild. From what I knew about Disneyland After Dark, they were sort of a hard rock and I thought metal album. But they're a Danish rock band, and they only developed that sound later on. This one here that I bought, this Call of the Wild Disneyland After Dark, is pretty much a country album. I don't know that's where they started from, so I thought I was picking up a hard rock, like metal type album, but it's very, very country. This is their first album, came out in 1986. So I might be passing this one on. They're a Danish rock band, like I said. They're originally named Disneyland After Dark. They changed their name to just DAD later on, and I think that's some of the albums that I saw, and just to avoid a lawsuit from Walt Disney. So I think they still do a couple of songs from the early days, but yeah, this is sort of very country. It's on the Mega Rock label. There you go. So I don't think that one will be staying in my collection, but those other two I will keep because I quite like those. So thank you for watching the video, if you watched all of that, and thank you for anyone that's subscribing and liking my videos, and most likely see you in the next one that I do. Thank you.